Hello, my name is Lindsy Carrasquillo, and I'm here at Savannah Stopover with Pronoun. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. So, your single Run recently came out about a week ago. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, I mean, that song I actually wrote when I was writing my first EP. A lot of the songs I'm going to release are kind of continuations from that and were written in the same time. Um, but that one, I didn't really know where it was going. It was kind of like I only had like a chorus and one of the verses. And in December, I took a month off my day job to finish my album, and I didn't, but I finished that song. So I mean, I kind of wrote that in a time where it's kind of understanding that someone is leaving, and you know them so well because you've been with them for so long that you're like, I wish you weren't, but I know you so well that, and I know what you're about to do, and like you're not coming back, and yeah.
So, with the album, can you talk a little bit about it and maybe the writing process?
Yeah, I mean, most of the songs on the album are originally I was gonna try to put out a full length record instead of just an EP, and when I finished the last song on the EP, I was like, this is done. Like this I don't need. This feels like a complete piece that doesn't need. I shouldn't be adding more things just to add more things to it. And from then on, I've like the other songs that were potentially going to be on it. I am now going to finish up and put them on the full length. But it's kind of tricky because like I started it when I was like really upset and like really heartbroken, and now I'm trying to finish some of them and I'm not. So I joke that it's like the first verse is like heart wrenching, and then the second verse is like, and like, I don't like your new haircut. Like it's like, and then you rip my heart out, and also, I don't like your glasses. Like so, it's kind of interesting trying to finish those songs, but I'm getting there, and that's why it's taking a little longer. Is it's hard to go back to that place and finish what you had started, but it's getting there. So.
So, how do you think you've changed since your last EP? Maybe like musically or just with inspirations?
I mean, the first EP that I did, I hadn't really, it was the first music I'd really ever made. So I've learned a lot even just from then. Like, I do all the stuff in my bedroom, so I produce it all myself. So I learn a lot. I've learned a lot just like by recording more and more. So it's kind of not experimental for me, but it's not experimental music. It's like doing things that probably a lot of other people have been doing for a while, but in my own way. It's going a little more into like, I don't know. It's in a more of a rock world in some parts, but other parts are still in that chill place the EP was. And there's some like heavy like live like drums and bass, and then there's also this electronic aspect in other songs too. It's kind of eclectic, I hope. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about your background in music and how you got started?
I was a jock when I was. Well, I've always like when I was 4, I started taking piano lessons. Me and my sisters all did, and then I took some guitar lessons. I was a jock. Like I like played a lot of sports. So, and I wasn't very good at the music like instruments part. So I kind of took drum lessons for a little bit, stopped, and then played a lot of basketball. And then sophomore year, I found Dashboard Confessional, who made me be like, oh, like I want to do this, like. Just like watching him with an acoustic guitar, but doing things like being like emo and rock on it, and being painfully honest and awkward and weird, and so that made me start wanting to make music. But and then I was like, I'm gonna be a rock star, and I went to a music school. I got into Berklee College of Music, and I got there, and I was like, oh, like, you're horrible. But, like, not in a bad way. It was just, like, a lot of other people are way better than you at guitar or singing or writing. And I was like, all right, well, so, like, where do I fit? And I started looking at the other things I like about music, and I was like, oh, I really like sounds like producing. So I started the music production engineering major there, and then realized I was a woman and that was going to be very hard, and studios are dying, and I picked up business as like a side thing, so I majored in that too. And then when I graduated, I went straight into working at a management company, like an artist management company for a while, and then I moved on to managing indie labels, which I still do at the Orchard, and then 2 years ago I just like went through a really bad breakup, and the only thing that made me feel better was making music, so I started doing that. And then like now here we are, which is like very weird because like 20-year-old me was like saying if they're out there in like an alternative like or like parallel universe or whatever you call it. They're probably like freaking out. But I also hear like, where were you 10 years ago when I was like 20, not 30? Like, I'm sharing like an Airbnb with like 10 dudes right now, sleeping on the floor, which is great. It's just like I never thought that I would be here.
So what advice would you give to young people who want to be involved in music?
Well, it depends on what capacity, but it's gonna be harder than you ever imagined. The people that really that want to put up that fight will make it. I see people drop all the time, and I see people succeed all the time, and it's people that aren't just like in it like, oh, I've been doing it for like a year and a half and it's not working. Like, it's gonna take forever. It's gonna take a really long time. No one's gonna care about you until everyone cares about you, and then you're kind of just like, well, fuck you guys. Like, where have you been? Like, I was already there, but it's extremely hard. It's extremely competitive, and it takes a ton of work, and there's almost zero reward. But that's not why I do music. I don't do it for a reward. I do it because I have to. So.
Okay. So tonight you'll be closing out El Rocco with
Yes.
your show at Savannah Stopover. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
It's going to be super cool. We actually played there last year, my band, Pronoun. But in the past year, I started my own record label, and we're doing like one of their first official record label showcases. So I have 2 of the acts that I signed, Kate Francis and Charles Fana playing with me. Charlie was with me last year. He was playing drums for my band, and he started his own project, so it's kind of surreal being here with him, doing it all over again and seeing the same places. It's gonna be super fun. Savannah's Stopover is like my favorite. I mean, I've only played it twice, but it's like what I wish South by was. It's like quieter and everything is walking distance and it's not oversaturated. There's not too many people here. You can actually, like, people do research on the bands. Like, no one does that at South by anymore. Like, people have come up to me in the past day being like, oh, I can't wait for your set. And it's because there's only like 50 bands playing, and these people actually go out and listen and do their be like, all right, what do I want to do, and like plan out their schedule, rather than like running around with like your head cut off and like whatever's like buzzing at the moment. So I'm just happy to be back. It's probably been my last year because they usually don't let acts play twice, but because of the label showcase, I think they're letting me. But I'm probably just going to come back next year either way, just to hang out.
So along with your shows at South by, you'll be touring with Citizen and Basement in May. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, that's in May, but their Citizen, I love it. I'm so excited. I mean, they're all great. I can't wait to be playing with all of them. It's going to be the longest run we've ever done by far. Besides this, this is like 3 weeks. That's going to be like 5 weeks and a lot of driving. It's almost shows every night. So it will be very interesting to see what that will be like, or if my body will disintegrate into nothingness.
So can you talk a little bit about your upcoming goals for the year?
Release a full length. That's as far as I've got. Develop my record label more. Get a better sense of what's coming after this and where I want the music to go, and I guess just keep carrying on. Yeah.
So can you tell everyone where to find your music online?
I'm basically music pronoun everywhere. So like Facebook --music pronouns, Instagram, musicpronoun.com. And I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, like all of the stores. We have vinyl too. I think it's like you can get on Amazon or Rough Trade or a lot of places.
All right. So this has been Level to the Room's interview with Pronoun. See you next time.